Would you like to win and achieve success at what you do? Welcome to the Winner's Ways podcast, where we create winners every day. And now, your host, the author of Winner's Ways book and life coach, Bola Alabi.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Winner's Ways podcast. So today I have a great guest. You guys are going to love him. I have Anish Majumdar. Anish is a career coach and expert in the hidden job market. So I'm curious about hidden job markets. I know a lot of you out there, you are curious too. You want to know that hidden job market so that Anish can help you. Anish content has been featured in Fast Company, Business Insider, Glassdoor, and Ivy Exec. So he knows what he's doing. He has helped thousands of professionals around the world to take reins of their professional destiny and break free of the necessity of job searching. So you guys are going to find this episode beneficial. And I must tell you, from my initial conversation with Anish, I'm already impressed. So without further ado, let's welcome Anish to the show. Hey, Anish, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much, Bola. It's a pleasure to be here.
Oh, awesome. Is there any intro you want to give real quick? Just tell them about you.
Sure. I'm a career coach. I've been one for a little over 12 years. As you say, my team and I, we specialize in working with deserving professionals and showing them an end-to-end way of generating high-level job offers. This has been the adventure of a lifetime. I was a journalist and an actor for many years, and this path of being a coach in some ways came like by accident. It came because I just saw this need of so many people who should be doing better, who should be feeling more happy, successful, fulfilled in their careers. But this gap and this problem of, you know, no matter what your situation is, can I get something better? Can I get it easily? Can I do it? That fear holds back people like nothing else. And so I'm really, really happy to be here. And I know you've got the advantage of an audience that is, I would say, extra juked, extra jazzed, already sort of in the mindset of asking themselves, how can I do something better? How can I be better? That's magic. So thank you again for being here. And I hope that I can inspire you out there who's listening to be bolder right now, because this is also absolutely the time where if you're interested in making a big shift upwards, this is it. This is where the ocean is. It's a very ripe, time to do that.
Absolutely. And you are totally correct. What I do is I ask the question, how can we maximize our potential? How can we be better? And I think that clearly aligns with what you do as a coach. But I'm just curious, why are you interested in helping others? Because you can just focus on yourself, be a better man yourself, Anish, but why are you interested in coaching and making sure that others are successful as well?
This is such a good question. And, it's one that I keep coming back to, because honestly, this path towards being a coach was never, part of the plan. My journey towards an actor, and I was a film and TV actor through most of my 20s, that came, from that bolt out of the blue inspiration. I started watching movies, plays. Oh, I fell in love with it. As a writer, it was like that. But, as a coach, it started out in the most non-inspired way possible. I was trying to support my writing career. I was working with people on resumes. I was giving them some interview coaching, and I remember picking up the phone, and there was this architect. He was 54 years old, Arthur, and this was supposed to be a possible client. And this man was just broken up, and over the course of this conversation, he tells me, Anish, he's ostensibly there for job search help, but really, as many of the people I work with, it becomes like a real turning point in their lives, a fork in the road. And he's like, look, I've spent 20 years at this company. I helped build this company. I'm responsible for some of the biggest projects that we have. They're making changes. I'm going to be fired inside of the next 3 months. I've never put myself out there. I'm 54 years old. I've got kids. I don't know how I'm going to retire. I don't think that I'm ready for this, and I don't think that I have what it takes. And I couldn't help him in that moment. I really couldn't, because what I was doing was relatively limited. But it stuck with me, and the desire to say, hey, what's being missing here? Because there's so many people out there, right now, they're getting MBAs, they're getting advanced training, they're being told by their managers, do this, do that, be a better presenter. They're running through all of these hoops. But what I discovered in that call, and what was validated through the decision I made after that to take this more seriously and really see, was say, hey, is there some other way here? Is there some way of you getting what you want, me getting what I want, without us having to deal with this? Because clearly 20 plus years of success for this guy, every professional accolade in the world, hadn't changed anything. And I discovered that myself when I was living in the States. I had met my wife. I was just trying to get any kind of a job. I'd already won awards for journalism, and I had all these accomplishments. But the second I went to interview for a traditional job, the second you're talking to someone who is looking at things from a fear-based, risk-based perspective, everything beautiful about what you are, everything unique about your journey, rather than saying, hey, how can I leverage this magic? It's like, why would I put my neck on the line for you? No way, right? So it started this obsession in my mind to say, hey, how can I help people like Arthur? How can I help all these other people who, like me, probably you haven't figured out a way to make your magic make sense. And the more successful you get in the traditional path, the more this weird ceiling starts coming in that's saying, hey, I'm not finding the jobs that I want out there. When I do get interviews, I get questioned more than I was even years ago. What the heck's going on? So that shifted my whole thinking. And for the first time, I started asking myself, instead of this being, instead of it being Anish's dream, maybe there is something that I can do here. And the amazing journey now with over 2,000 people helped, and seeing them and leading them through, moms who are coming back into the workforce, executives, dads who want to take that time. I have to say, it's been a miracle, and it has been a lesson that perhaps when it comes to our careers, we don't need to have all the answers, but what we do need to do is make a stand for what's important. And we do need to allow life, God, destiny, whatever. When you feel the wind there, run with it, run with it, run with it. I didn't know where it was going, but I knew that there was something here, and I was willing to go everywhere. I was willing to learn anything from anyone to put something else together to serve people like that, because I continue to feel that it's a great injustice that goes on, that every single people we deal with quietly and we internalize every single day, has to change.
That's so powerful, Anish. When you narrated a story about that man, Arthur, that maybe is afraid that he's going to lose his job, that resonates well with me, because I've had the chance, to talk with people that are also at that point where they are afraid of what's next. What am I going to do if I lose this job that I've been working at for 10 years, 20 years? I don't know how to do anything else. And that's why I always encourage people, yes, do your job, do a great job. But at the end of it all, you should also be building your dream. Going to work 9 to 5, that's great. I have no issues with people that do that. But what do you do from when you get home? What else can you do that can help you to build your life? So the way you said it, that's just a powerful way of saying this. And this goes out to everyone, those people, everyone that is listening right now. Yes, do a great job, but you must constantly think, what else can I do for my life? In order to move me forward. So that's great. Thank you very much for sharing that. And absolutely, I agree. The job of a coach is to, guide people, lead people, take them from where they are to where they want to be. And that's what you've been doing for thousands of people, professionals out there. Now, let's talk about hidden job market.
Yes.
When I saw that, I thought, hidden job markets. I'm curious. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, so I know there's a lot of mystery around that phrase, and it's a very like Harry Houdini-esque. The hidden job market is just another way to, and I hope this is a very encouraging thing, because when I discovered it, it certainly was. The hidden job market is just another way to describe every possible opportunity, job, full-time, part-time, consulting, however it's structured. It's a way to describe every possible opportunity out there that is not in job posting mode. And the thing that I always assumed for a lot of my time when I was first, going out there, was that if it doesn't exist in the job posting, that there's no opening, that there's nothing, going on there. And so it was really, a shock and a surprise to realize the majority of opportunities actually at every company have yet to reach it into a posting. If I can make a visual, for everyone listening, imagine that me and you were running a company, okay, and we are trying to aggressively grow. We realize, we have a major shortfall in marketing, right? We need a marketing expert who understands what we're going to do. Well, the first thing we're going to do is we're not going to go to our HR and make a job posting about it, because among other things, this person doesn't understand the needs. They're not in the inner circle. It's going to take a heck of a long time. It usually costs 160% on average of the cost of a first-year executive salary just to hire someone through traditional hiring. So I'm going to do what? We're going to avoid that, right? Instead, I'm going to say to you, Bola, hey, who do you know, right? Who do you know who might be able to fix this, right? So we're tapping our internal network. People are coming in. These people, by the way, if there's someone that works, and I wanted to, you wanted to, we're going to move them through a process that is way faster than the traditional hiring, because there's less risk, because this person has been vetted essentially by the leadership. Now, if that doesn't work, what typically happens is we then start saying within our company, and this is why we're seeing right now more incentivization within companies for internal referrals, referred hires than ever before, because it's a lot cheaper, it's a lot more effective. So to say, hey, everyone out there, who do you know? We need an expert in this. We need someone who's not just another marketer. Who do you know? Who do we know? Now there's a little bit more risk now. Now it's moving outside of the leadership circle. So probably we're going to deal with a few more hoops as we go through the hiring process. I don't know you as much. You're coming in a little bit cold. Maybe that works, maybe it doesn't. Oftentimes someone gets hired long before that process. We try, for whatever reason, it doesn't work. Now we reach the last stage. Now we reach end stage, which means the opportunity has been kicking around for a while. Frustration usually has been mounting. We haven't been able to solve it. So we say, okay, fine, go out there, put it out there. HR puts some generic thing together. They're trying to understand what's going on. They usually don't. I'm not going to tell them the real vulnerabilities in this company that are driving the hire. So they're, formulating some kind of a job posting that doesn't really relate to what's going on. Some candidate comes in who might have been perfect, by the way, for all of this, right? But they're just becoming aware of this opportunity late stage. So what happens? They come in, they're dealing with 200, 300, 400 other people, whatever it is. They're coming in, and now, because you're coming in cold, because the starting point is so deleveraged against you, it really starts to not matter how qualified you are, because at this point it's like, look, you could be the greatest chief marketing officer on planet Earth, but you never came out with a better way of reaching out to me. You never came out with a better way to build a relationship with me or demonstrate value than jetting your resume out there. And this is the thing that holds back people, is because it's either the job postings or this scary thing called networking your way to a job. What's true is that there's a beautiful mid zone there filled with these leaders, and finding out, hey, how can I brand myself in a way that doesn't come across as a job seeker but might have some interest there? How can I talk to them in a way that isn't like, get me a job, but like, how can I start the process of helping? What I discovered is when you start that process of initiating dialogue, building relationships with the right people as an equal, then you put yourself in a zone to actually discover what's really going on in these companies. And when you switch your mind state from being the best person for a job to being the best person who can identify what's really going on at this company, and if you want to, aligning what you identify with your solution, that right there switches everything. It changes the entire methodology of how you get ahead, who you talk to, how much you get upset if some gatekeeper, judges you. You start realizing, this is one of the big, and this certainly in our line of work, it's one of the big, chestnuts, is realizing the reason it's so hard to get a job the other way, and it gets harder as you go up to the C-suite through cold, is exactly this, is like, you don't know what's going on. So you never have any leverage in the situation. All you have is, let me trade old information about my career and hope that it resonates with what's going on, right? There's no trust, there's no depth, there's nothing. If you have it on the pain, then aligning to that pain is going to give you something that allows me to say, if I say no to Bola, it's not me saying no to just another candidate, you see. There was no job here, right? There was no posting. It was me and you talking together that even allowed me to see our problems through a new way, right? So if I say no to you, it's no longer just saying no to a candidate. I actually don't have that power. If I say no to you, I'm saying no to this solution entirely. What am I going to do? Find someone else like you? They're going to know this intrinsic mix. They're not, right? And that's leverage. That's the kind of methodology that an individual like us, we need to be thinking about. Like, how can I get some leverage over this? How can I have some authority over this situation? So, long answer, I know, but it is something I'm such a nerd about, because I want everyone listening to say, hey, don't judge your career prospects based on what you see on Monster or Indeed right there. That's a tiny infinitesimal percentage of it. It's a lot bigger of a market than I ever thought possible. It just requires a little bit of the right kind of courage, maybe, to start looking at this in a different way. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. So what I heard from you, Anish, is to get into that hidden market, a candidate must prepare and position himself or herself properly. Mm-hmm. You talked about branding, yes. Presenting yourself as a solution, will especially give you that leg up over other candidates.
Yes.
And you talked about having that dialogue, the relationship,
yes.
That is necessary, to put you out there, such that when a company is looking to fill that role, your name comes to mind, and yes. You will be the person that they want to go to. So it's no longer a competition whereby the hiring manager is sifting through thousands of resumes. You are already on top of their list in terms of who they want to consider. So that's a great way of saying it, and I completely agree with you.
Would it be all right if I shared a little tip related to that? Because
that was going to be my next question.
Because you totally hit the nail on the head right there. One little tip that might be really useful is to think about your brand, whether it's resume, LinkedIn, or even the way that you dialogue with people. A big mistake I see is that people kind of get stuck into a skills-only way of looking at themselves. So let me give you an example. Using this, a marketing example, for example. You have someone who maybe has, 15, 20 years of high-level marketing experience. They're targeting maybe some chief marketing officer roles, SVP officer roles. But if you look at their brand, what they're doing is they're saying, look, I'm a marketing expert. That's what I do. And what I specialize in is digital marketing and this skill and this skill and this skill. This is very common, right? But the problem with that, right? And that problem with that way of thinking, it makes you fundamentally come across as someone who's optional, and it makes you have to automatically war with my idea of what marketing is, right? If you're never anything more than just a marketing person, then rightfully or wrongfully, if you're talking with me, if I'm the CEO of a company, then I'm saying, okay, great. If I need help with marketing, if I need an optional person to come in, I'm going to do that. Now, if that same person looked at their journey and they said, you know what? Not just the marketing work that I've done, right? But before I did this, I had some operations experience. I'm not even, talking about that because I don't think it's relevant. And, I even had some coaching experience there. So I've got this people experience, okay, this operations experience, I got all this marketing one. Okay. Why would any business, if you think about it, hire a marketing leader. I mean, obviously, if I could do away with it, I would. I mean, let's just be brass tacks about it, right? I'm not going to hire anyone if I absolutely don't have to, right? If it's not essential, not optional. So I'm not paying you for marketing. I'm not. I'm paying you to grow the business. Ideally, I'm paying you to realize the 2 to 3 objectives that I already think is important, that is already the priority here, right? And so what if this person positioned themselves not as a marketing expert, but as a catalyst for growing a company as only they can? In other words, they can look at a business strategy, and because they fought the battles on the marketing side and the ops side and the people side, you finally have one person who can actually take these strategies and say, hey, stop looking outside. The intrinsic problems here are going on, is happening here, it's happening here, it's happening here. I'm going to interlink all of this. I'm going to take accountability for making sure this is going to work, and I will hold true for moving this company forward. At that point, not only do you have the power of a process, and it could be there's 20 ways you could brand yourself. There's 30 ways that I could brand myself. There's more than one answer here. But if you start going down the road of saying, what am I actually paid for? What is the way of thinking about what I do that makes me come across as essential? That's going to start the process of really changing the authority level of your brand. And that's really, really key. It's very important, whoever you are, that when you go into that room, whoever you're talking with, whatever their attitude might be, right? If I'm a career coach, they might have a very low opinion of that because they've been burned or they have that. It is critically important that when it comes to the work that you do the work on inside of yourself to make sure that you know that this is essential. That on one way or the other, the future of this business, whether this person realizes it or not, is at jeopardy. And you're only one person. There's only a very small amount of companies that you're ever going to be able to, and people you're ever even working at capacity, right, that you're ever going to be able to impact. So be choosy about that. Be clear about that and be really, really clear. So that shift right there of getting away from what is the magical combination of skills that I can put out there, and instead thinking, what's a process, right? What's an outcome, right? What's a way that I can act as essentially a strategic partner to the business, regardless of what role I currently have? This is a mindset shift primarily, but once you start branding yourself that way, watch how the response rates and the visibility starts going right through the roof.
Fantastic. That's a lot of information that you packed in there. I hear process, I hear positioning, and these are important. So I'm going to ask you, Anish, because as a career coach, many people that are hearing us right now, you put all this information out there, but I know most of them, they need someone that can hold their hands, that can guide them, in order to get to their dream career. So if my audience, they want to connect with you, learn from you, how can they do that? I know you have your website. Is that the starting point, or how can they reach out to you and say, hey, Anish, here I am.
Well, we would love that, and I would love that. There's one specific recommendation I wanna give to everyone listening right now. It's a website. It's called Tap the Hidden Job Market /ASAP ASAP. And so this link, if you go there, you're going to see the latest masterclass that we've put up. It's about 45 to 50 minutes long. And what it's going to allow me to do is, if you can have your resume and LinkedIn profile up, great. It'll allow me to go deeper. And if you want to get in touch with us afterwards, you'll be able to do directly that. The other recommendation I have, I'm on LinkedIn every day. If you're hungry about your career, join me. I would say there's probably not that many Anish career coaches out there. I haven't checked in a while, but I would say, look me up there, follow me, because every day, it's my mission to keep sharing information, taken from our experiences about what's actually working there, and actually also getting rid of some of the disinformation out there that sounds really good, but actually ends up, you probably know this, sometimes really great sounding advice. You're like, man, I'm depressed here. Like, good Lord. Like, I didn't know things, and things are not grim out there. Things are not, this is the time, if you can act bravely and you can act from a place of abundance, which I think it's what it's all about. This is going to be the moment that changes everything for you, your family, everyone. Just be brave and imagine me sending out internet hugs out to all of you guys. Keep going. This is the time for it.
So honestly, Anish, I think there's so much to talk with you about. There's a lot when it comes to career. I want to talk about resume. I want to talk about finding a company. I want to talk about how to use LinkedIn. But I also want to make sure that I'm keeping each episode under 30 minutes so that people can, when they are on their treadmill, they can quickly consume everything.
Of course.
So you may be my first guest. That will be a repeat guest. So we'll see how that goes, because I know there's so much that you have that you need to share that people need to know. But maybe I can still take one question. Sure. I'm going to ask about dream company. There are many people that, Microsoft, that's my dream company. Apple, that's my dream company. How can we position ourselves, to land a job at those dream companies? Is there any tactic, any strategy that we can use here?
Yeah, I think it's wonderful, to have like a dream companies list to especially if it inspires you and helps sort of crystallize a vision of what you're doing all of this for, What has been surprising in this journey has also, though, been realizing that a lot of times, like the thing that you thought was a dream company, a lot of companies can become that, right? If you started, Gail, who was someone I worked with recently, she's in her early 60s. She thought she was going to retire in her last company. They kind of screwed her over a little bit. So she's like, okay, 15 years, she was at a Fortune 500 leader in HR. So she thought, when we worked together, that her dream was going to be more of the same. What she realized through the process of saying, hey, before I start pursuing these dream companies, has my market worth changed? Has I changed it? By going through that process and yes, working with us too, she found herself being open to talking with the heads of companies that are actually a lot earlier, high growth, in a totally different zone. And what she found was, in these companies, rather than looking at her as just another amazing HR executive who can keep the lid on, it's almost like with these, some of them, it's like it's a frat house and they need a grandma to come in there being like, guys, like, nope, you're not doing that. You're not doing that. This is the right thing to do. They're not. And it opened up this whole new window for her, because she realized, she's like, wow, like if you start from a place of saying, maybe the ways in which I can contribute might be much more than I thought, and you say, hey, I'm going to allow these dream companies, I'm going to pursue them, certainly. But I would also say at the beginning, let that be more than just company. Let it also be anything that interests you. If you see a leader who's doing fantastic work and it resonates with you, pursue it. If you're seeing someone who is, in a region and there's anything about it that resonates with you, do it, and let actual hiring activity make the last choice for you. So my recommendation would be absolutely go after the dream ones, but at the same time, leave open the possibility that the same criteria that is driving you towards those may well manifest themselves in another company or another thing. The goal you have is not to drive yourself crazy finding the one. The goal you want to have is playing this game with integrity and playing it in a way that actually makes you feel good, so that regardless of what the outcome is, you can say, hey man, like I got no regrets. I truly got it. I have, as someone who experienced the opposite of sometimes, in my job seeker days, I remember being out of work 8-9 months. Finally, I got an offer. Yeah, I chose to have that job, like, it's like, I'm just, thanking God that, the torture is over, So that's the way I would think it. Think wide funnel to a tight funnel. Wide funnel, anything that interests you, go after it, but let actual hiring activity start tightening it, and keep going back all the way through every stage through a job search. Keep returning to those criteria of what is going to do it for you, not just in terms of the job, work-life balance, fulfillment, compensation, because a lot of times you might find that those criteria actually change as you move forward. So stay in touch with that and give yourself that opportunity. Once you go into an offer with a company or you get close, they have the most to lose at that point. So don't ever worry about giving yourself that extra time, that extra day, that extra 2 days, 3 days, whatever you need to get good with this decision. This is something that's going to affect your life for at least the next year, if not more, right? So take that time, and make sure that you are 100% good, heart and soul, with what you're doing.
Awesome. So in a minute or less, What's final message you want to share with my audience, maybe in terms of their career, life, or anything for that matter?
I was thinking, I know in some of the past episodes you've asked, what's your definition of success? And I was sort of thinking about that. And I would say my definition is a life where you can give abundantly to your heart's content and you never have to worry, because what you get back is always more than what you put out. Like, what you get back from the universe is infinitely stronger. And you can do that everywhere, and you can definitely do that in your profession. The 9 to 5 sucking your soul out your whole life does not ever have to be that way.
Wow.
Hopefully that resonates.
No, absolutely. And that's important. What you get from life, you get more, by giving. That's the message that you are passing out right there. So thank you very much, Anish. It's been an awesome moment, listening to you, sharing your knowledge, and educating my audience on how to get their dream job and position themselves for a great career. Thank you very much for sharing with us today. I'm going to leave your website on the show notes so that people can, connect with you and learn more about what you do. Thank you, Anish.
This episode of Winner's Ways podcast has come to a close. We hope you enjoy and learn something from today's show. We want you to win and excel in all areas of your life, and we regularly explore and share information with our listeners to empower them to win. Be sure to subscribe to our podcast for more tips and strategies to help you find the success that you've always dreamt of. And don't forget to rate and review so that we can continue to bring you more podcast episodes to empower you. We will love to have you again next week. Now, keep winning.